Welcome back to the Little Marketing Podcast, where we share practical real-life advice for Australian small businesses. So in today's episode, instead of one big topic, we're going to do more of a Q&A style episode where we answer really common marketing questions that we hear from small business owners. I think these kind of episodes can be really valuable because sometimes the challenges that other small businesses are facing are also the same challenges that another small business owner is facing. So today we're going to discuss things like discounts and whether they damage your brand, when a startup should begin marketing, SEO versus Google Ads, what to do when your marketing budget is tight, and also how to figure out your point of difference in a crowded industry. So let's jump straight into it. Question 1, should I discount my products? So a common question we hear is on discounting products or services and our thoughts on that and whether we think that it might hurt your brand or if it will help things. So I feel like discounts are really interesting because they can definitely help drive sales, but they can also shape how people perceive your brand. So if doing sales is common for your business, you could become known as a business that does sales and your customers or your clients are waiting for the next sale before they purchase from you. And depending on the type of business or the type of industry you're in, that can hurt your brand long term. So say you're trying to run a candle business, a high-end luxury candle business, and if you're always discounting your products, that can dilute your positioning. Whereas if your brand is focused around affordability and value, then doing discounts might make more sense for your brand as it's aligning with your positioning as well. Neither approach is wrong. The key is just consistency to your pricing strategy. So before discounting, maybe just ask yourself, what do you want your brand to be known for? Are you trying to compete on value or on price? And if you start discounting regularly, are you prepared for customers to expect that? So question number 2, when should a startup start marketing? The next question is about when a startup should begin marketing. And the answer is actually a lot earlier than people think. So a lot of people wait until everything's perfect before they begin their marketing. They wait for it to have a perfect website, perfect branding and perfect systems. But the reality is that marketing momentum takes time to build. So if your goal is to generate awareness, clients, and credibility, then you should start putting your business out there as early as possible. Doesn't mean spending huge amounts of money immediately, but it might just mean creating a basic website, setting up your socials, talking consistently about your offering, and communicating it clearly about what makes your business different. Is marketing overwhelming for your small business? Get in touch with our team today to start the conversation. Question number 3, SEO or Google Ads? Here's a common marketing question that we get, so let's see if we can simplify it a little bit. Google Ads are the paid ones on the top of a Google search. So you're paying when people are clicking on it, but the benefit is that you have visibility immediately. And then SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization, is the process of improving your website over time. So organically, you're showing up in those Google searches. So SEO is going to be slower, but it gives long-term visibility. And Google Ads is faster, but you're paying per click. So the real answer usually comes down to your urgency, your budget, and your long-term goals. So if you're wanting leads quickly, Google Ads is perfect because your traffic is going to start immediately. But if you're wanting to build something over time and want sustainable visibility, then SEO is the way to go. But the thing is, before you actually start paying to drive people to your website, make sure that your website actually looks good and builds trust for your brand. Because there's going to be no point investing in ads or SEO for that matter if the website damages your credibility or your trust when people land on there. So your website needs to look professional, it needs to clearly explain what you do, and it needs to communicate trust and also make it easy for people to take the next step. Otherwise, you're just going to be paying for people to land on your website and have a poor customer experience, which means that they're probably not going to purchase or inquire from you. So question number 4, what if my marketing budget is tiny? So before spending any money, if your marketing budget is tiny, I'd personally start to look at the positioning first, because if your positioning isn't clear, then even a big budget isn't going to work properly. So first you need to look at who are you targeting and what type of work do you actually want. And once you know what your positioning is clearly, then you can start allocating some of your budget. For many startups, the basics matter first. So a professional website, branding, simple social presence, maybe some capability documents, and consistency in all of that communication. You don't need to overcomplicate it, but you just need to make sure that you have enough credibility and visibility for people to trust your business. Question number 5, how do I find my point of difference? So this one is really common because a lot of people feel like everyone else is doing what they're doing. And it can be that your competitors are doing something similar, and positioning isn't about creating something entirely new, but it can be about communicating your business clearly and differently to everyone else. When you're trying to identify your point of difference, make sure you ask yourself, who exactly do we help? What type of projects do we specialize in? What do clients consistently compliment us on? Why do customers come back? What experience or expertise do we have? And what are we known for? Sometimes your positioning might come from your niche, your target audience, your location, your service style, or even your expertise. And then you just need to make sure that it's clear and that you communicate it effectively and often. So honestly, all of these questions today come back to 4 core things. If you want your marketing to work, you need to firstly find your positioning. You need to communicate it clearly. You need to communicate it consistently and more often than your competitors. And that is often the foundation for effective marketing. So hopefully today's Q&A session gave you a few practical things to think about within your own small business. Whether it's pricing, SEO, positioning, or marketing budgets, a lot of the answers really come back to clarity about who you are, who you help, and how you're going to communicate that to your market. So thanks for tuning into today's episode. If you have a question that you would like answered next time, please drop it in the comments below. If you want more information, please head to our website, which is littlemarketing.com.au. You could head to our socials for more info, or even send us an email at ask@littlemarketing.com.au.
Please note that all the information provided on this podcast is general in nature and is not intended to be specific advice to your individual situation. Please be sure to engage a professional for a customized approach to your business and personal circumstances.